Hey, Brother Mo here. Um, I have been away far too long from that which I am, that who I am, and that's a servant of the Lord. When you don't exercise your gifts, then you open doors for the world. I encourage people to do what you're called to do, and that's why I'm here with you now. I am and have been the worst of sinners. But by the grace of God, I am what I am. And you can listen to me or not. That's up to you. I've got some questions, and I'm going to cover one of them today, and that's the question of tithing. I've been asked that, isn't it true that tithes were in the Old Testament and only meant stocks and crops? And I've been asked if it's true that the New Testament doesn't speak on tithing at all. And I've been asked if uh, tithing is simply a way for pastors to induce people into filling and lining their pockets. So I'm going to start by saying, look, I don't have a problem with tithes. To me, tithing is a fair standard, or let's call it a tenth. It's a fair standard by which I can assist the church in the goals that I have agreed upon. See, I go to this church, I worship. I don't have a problem with tithing. I try to pay my tithe. Okay. Um, as far as the question of stocks and crops in the Old Testament, come on now. You know that from the beginning of time, the barter system was used. And the barter system is stocks, crops, things you build, whatever the case may be. You know that this was used for money. And then as money developed, those that didn't have money still used crops. The patriarch's son, Judah, went to go pay for the prostitute with the little lamb. Okay, Tamar. Okay, so let's not split hairs. That's what you're doing when you're talking about that. Okay, in the New Testament, the question is it true that the New Testament doesn't speak on tithing or the tenth? Yes, it is true. The New Testament doesn't speak on tithing, and in chapter 15 of Acts, it clearly frees us from the law of the Old Testament, from the laws set forth for the Jews. Okay. However, if you're going to use what the New Testament doesn't say, then you have to use what the New Testament does say. And that is, say, in 1 Corinthians 16:2, it says, let's start with 1 and 2. It says, now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given order to the churches of Galatia, even so do ye. Upon the first day of the week, let every one of you lay by him in store, as God hath prospered him, that there be no gatherings when I come. So Paul has said, everyone bring some money on the first day of the week. So if you make $100, what are you going to do? Bring $1? Is that what you think that the Lord deserves out of what he has prospered you with? That what you cool with? Come on now. All right. And as for pastors, lining their pockets. How many mega churches do you think there are? Sure, there's some crooks and stuff like that, but there are a lot more tiny little churches ran by good, solid, honest people who are retired, who are on disability, whatever the case may be, and the church functions off of the tithe that is given. So, what's the problem that you have if you worship that? If you worship that, then why is it a problem for you to assist this church? As I say, it's a fair standard by which I can assist this church. Now, the question here is, are you a believer? Is this a Christian question? Are you supposedly defending the church? Because I don't see it. If it's a Christian question, then you have to do what this Bible says. If you're claiming to be a Christian, it says on the first day of the week, bring some chips. All right? So the thing is there are two kinds of people that are making this argument, and that is, one, those who don't want to give, and two, those pastors and crooks who want to do away with the tithe so that they can induce the parishioners to give more. Well, to those who don't want to give, I say, man, don't give. God don't need you. God got 1,000 cattle on 1,000 hills, and they're all his. So you are not going to break or make the God of all heaven and earth. So, c'est la vie. All right. Now, for those who are trying to induce, trick you into lining their pockets and give more, God sees it all. God sees it all, and he's not going to honor that. Sooner or later, it'll catch up to you. And like the Bible says, it is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. If you have a problem with giving at your church, if you have a problem with the tithe, then perhaps you should look at the church that you're going to and examine why it's bugging your spirit so much. Bye.